Hi everyone, hope you're well. So today I want to talk about the NHS, and the reason I want to talk about the NHS is because there is quite a lot of concerns regarding the NHS. So first of all, okay, I just want to say that the government does talk a lot about putting money into the NHS, but we don't really see that much of a difference. I don't believe that money is being put into the NHS like they say they do. They keep promising that they'll do it, but I don't really think any money is going into the NHS at all. I mean, they seem to have so much money to put on foreign aid. Every time something happens abroad, they keep saying, right, we're transferring millions of this, millions of that to fix whatever's going on, you know. Even when they had the big storm that happened in Jamaica, from what I understand, they were going to be sending money out to go and help with foreign aid to help the country to rebuild, you know, and things like that. And, you know, the thing is, we need money for problems in our own country, which isn't getting sorted, which isn't getting dealt with, and it kind of feels as if that money that should go into what should go into the UK is getting put somewhere else, you know, and it's really, really wrong. So my concern is with the NHS is, for example, like what, you know, quite a few years back, well, I wouldn't say years, I would probably say about a year or maybe less. My auntie, you know, she obviously she's passed away now. She's in her late 80s, and she went to the hospital a couple of times before she died, for not being very well. And at the time, she was 87 years old, and she was, you know, sitting in a chair throughout the whole night. An elderly woman who's also had a stroke, quite a severe one. And she didn't go in for the stroke, she went in for something else. But the point is, she sat in a chair literally all night long to be seen. I mean, okay, she's a person like any other person, and people might say, oh, but there are other people that need to be seen. Yes, I do understand. But when it's an old woman, okay, who probably has health issues already, you'd think that they would prioritise, okay, to help the elderly, as you know, who shouldn't be sitting in a chair, or at least give them a bed. Like my dad went into hospital last week, okay. He had a chest infection. He had to go in for some blood tests because the doctor asked him to go to have I think it was to do with his liver, no, sorry, his kidneys. And so my dad said that he went to the hospital for a blood test. He also went for a checkup because the doctor had asked him to go. My dad at the time had a chest infection, and they left him sitting there from 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. You know, my dad wasn't feeling very well. They also said that they wanted to keep him in, but my dad said no, he wanted to go home because he wanted some rest. And he said, you know, he didn't know how long he'll be waiting for a bed, you know. And this is the thing, you know, my dad didn't have anything to eat from 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. And they think that it's okay, right? But these old people waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for hours on end. My dad said he was just waiting for a blood test result since 2 o'clock from 10 o'clock. How does that make sense? To keep an elderly person with, my dad has heart problems, okay, as well. To keep someone in that length of time is, you know, it's absolutely, you know, it's absurd. It really is that this is going on, you know. It's like as if we're going back into the dark ages where, you know, people are just left all over the place, you know. There's no proper system. The system isn't good enough, you know. People, you know, especially the elderly, people who are sick, you know, they should be, if you can't see them straight away, at least put them into a bed then and let them go and rest for a bit while you want before, if you want to give them more blood tests and then another one, at least give them a bed where they can just go and lie into and just relax and just have a bit of rest, you know, or offer some food. Offer some food to these people, these old people. Offer some food. You know, if they've got to sit there for hours and then, you'd think they'll at least offer them some food, offer a bed where they can go and just have a bit of rest if they need to have a sleep, instead of having to sit in a chair. The same thing happened to my uncle. My uncle, right, who had cancer, who had kidney problems. The same thing. He was very reluctant to want to go into hospital because he said that they keep him sitting in a chair all night long, and he said, I want to lie down and I want to sleep. So if they've been up all day, then they become sick later on in the evening, right? And then they need a bed because they're so tired now. It's getting to the evening time. You'd think they would just offer a bed to people who are sick, right? And they don't. And they don't. You know, they keep them sitting in their beds, in a chair, throughout the whole night. You know, I think our NHS is really going downhill. It is really going downhill. You know, when my uncle once was in hospital, he had to have a catheter put in, right? Because he can't pee naturally. You know, he can't pass his urine naturally. So they had to put a catheter in order for him to pass his urine. And that evening, when the catheter was put in, my uncle was in so much distress because he had a junior doctor fitting it in for him. He was in so much distress, he was literally crawling out for help in a hospital. In a hospital. Luckily, my sister was there at the time. I wasn't, but my sister was there at the time. And she said that it was so traumatic. She couldn't get over the way that he was feeling. She said that it took her a very long time to get over how distressed he was that day. And all the doctors could say was, oh, sorry, we've just got to learn from our lessons. My sister said she was feeling so distressed that, she was literally crying. She was crying from the distress of that day. You know? And no one should have to go through that. No one. When you go into hospital, you think you should be safe. You should think that you should be getting the best care. But in actual fact, that's not happening. And this isn't just me that this it's happening to. It's happening to a lot of people who are in the same situation, having to go to hospital and not feeling safe and not feeling like they're, I've heard even people say I'm too scared to go into hospital just in case they don't come out. No one should have to feel like that. You know, you should feel you're going to go into hospital, you're going to be safe. These people are here to take care of you, to look after you and make sure that whatever you went in for, you're going to come out and, be okay. Or try and, even if you have got a long-term illness, you still want to be looked after in the best care that they can give you. But people don't feel like that. They feel like they just brush you aside. They're not bothered whether you are going to be okay or not. They really don't show much compassion whatsoever, because you're just another number. You're just another person. They're there just to do a job, and people don't feel safe in hospitals anymore, And that's all I have to say on the matter today. And I had to talk about this because I feel like money should be put into the NHS just to make it a better place for everybody, so that they don't have to feel the way that they do. No one should have to feel frightened or having to feel like distressed about going there. Well, people do. And no one should have to feel that way. And the people who work there shouldn't make you feel that way. They should be showing compassion, because that's what they're all there. They're called doctors and nurses. That's their job. But people aren't feeling like that, Anyway, that's for me today. And thank you for watching, and see you on my next video, and bye-bye.